Good morning, everybody. It's Bat Check JW coming right to you. It's Saturday morning, and hopefully you're having a good morning. Cheers to all my friends, such as those of you like my good buddy Joe over there in California. I hope you're doing okay. I know with all this craziness going on right now, there's just so much insanity. But I hope all of you find yourselves in good health and don't get sick. It can mess you up, so be careful of that. So don't do anything unnecessary, I guess. I always find that kind of funny during this pandemic right now. It's like somebody would go to the grocery store they have a mask and all this stuff on, but then they risk it going to the grocery store. Do you really need to go? I don't know. Oh well, we're here. We're having some tea this morning. Growing up with my grandparents, my grandpa, they used to drink tea a lot, and they, oddly enough, I don't think I've ever actually told anybody this. My grandpa used to put tea in a bowl and put rice in the bowl. I'm not kidding. I don't know. It seems weird, I guess. I haven't done it since, I don't remember the last time I did that, but yeah, you would put tea and rice in a bowl. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try that again soon and give that a shot. But yeah, growing up, tea and rice. I don't know. But I like tea because you can also stain things with tea. Did you know that? You could take your grips and soak them in a cup of tea overnight, and they might turn a little aged. The rumor was that John Wayne did that. I don't know. That's been such a loose term, or a loose thing, I guess a story more like, that's been thrown around, that John Wayne took his Catalan grips and soaked them in some tea to stain them yellow, so that he would. That's what he used in his movies. I don't know. Then again, I've ran into people that they would tell me, well, being it was John Wayne, more chances are them. Those are probably real ivory grips. Actually, no, they weren't. That I do know. That they were definitely plastic, a form of plastic. They say it was Catalan. Catalan was a really cool type of Bakelite type thing that they had back then, I guess. But he actually only used, as far as I know, from what the museums have shown, there's actually only one set of guns that he used that were actually real ivory, supposedly, or a bone of some sort. And that was in The Shootist, his final film, which actually they weren't Colt pistols at all. They were made by Great Western, and those were, I heard, actually bone or ivory of some sort, grips on that. So interesting. But that's what I know. Also, if you watch the NRA Museum, they bring out one of his firearms, and it's got his signature grips on there. And even Phil Schreier, he says, hey, these are, they're plastic. They're just that. And for me, like growing up with the VHS, you never saw that stuff. I mean, the quality of everything, what they have now, this flat screen TVs and stuff, which is fantastic. But when you grew up with the old tube television, VCRs and videotapes, it looked as good as it was going to look. So that was about it. And so when Blu-ray came out for me, and I saw this stuff on Blu-ray, I couldn't believe how good it really looked. It was just amazing. I said, wow, look at how, and you really get to see the grips close up, and you're like, that's actually, they look pretty cool, but you can tell they're probably a plastic of some sort. So, but yeah, I also have a little show and tell item here for you, and I think you'll find it really interesting. I find it really interesting. I think it's really neat. We'll gear together a video and I'm still trying to figure out what kind of a video we'll be doing with this and all that. We'll be showcasing something, and we'll set up this table here and try to do that for you. It'll be a surprise. It'll hit on the main channel and all that. So I've been trying to keep up with the videos, but with work and everything, it's been a little difficult, but trying to keep you folks entertained. And I know some of you are quarantined at home and all that, so trying to keep that going. So I have a couple of movies I want to share with you. I probably have shared them before, but I kind of thought, these are, to me, first of all, I'm a big Charlie Bronson fan. I love Charles Bronson. He is just, growing up, I watched so many of his movies, and during the 80s, he had released a bunch of movies that were just, you knew what you were going to get. You were going to get action. You were going to get a good time. It was going to be a great Friday night with the popcorn bowl and soft drinks or whatnot, or pizza night, and just throw it on the TV, and it's going to be a show. In fact, that sounds like a good idea. Maybe tonight, I think that's what we'll do. We'll have a pizza night and watch this movie, because I haven't seen it for a while. So, what's the movie in question? Bronson did a lot of movies during his time, like I said, and the director that he worked a lot with was J. Lee Thompson. He worked a lot with him. Speaking of Thompson, I hope you checked out my latest video on the main channel with a Tommy gun. Yeah. So, anyway, this one's one. And it's got Kathleen Wilhoit in it, which I've always had a crush on. So here it is. It's called Murphy's Law. That's right. It's kind of one of those, in a sense, obscure ones. I think it's obscure because when people think of Charles Bronson, they think of a lot of his westerns and, of course, Death Wish and Chato's Land or Chato's Land, however you want to say it. But Murphy's Law is a really neat one. This one came out in 1986. Really neat. Just like full-on, just a cop, shoot 'em up, action-packed movie. Kathleen Wilhoit is. Maybe some people will find her irritating in the movie, but I don't. I think it's perfectly. I don't. Well, anyway, we won't get into that. But no, interesting film. It's actually kind of difficult to find. I was really lucky to actually come across this on the used. This was used on Amazon. Somebody was selling it used, and I picked it up. It was a pretty decent price. Twilight Edition or Twilight Studios, I don't know, whoever they are. I don't actually own any of their editions, I don't believe, but they did, for instance, they released The Mechanic on Blu-ray, but their stuff is expensive. The movie The Mechanic on Amazon, if you can even find it, I believe is going for some serious money. And they did do Brannigan with John Wayne. They did do that one on Blu-ray. I was kind of interested in getting that. I don't know. But the stuff can get expensive. But I was very fortunate. I think I picked this up for like $14 or something like that. You probably get it in a record store or something if you get lucky. I've always searched for it, never did find it. But interesting film. He's a cop. He gets kind of set up in it. They say, "Oh, you murdered your wife." Nothing. No storyline that's going to break any kind of original boundaries or anything like that. But it gets framed, so he's going to go out to clear his name. He gets kind of literally shackled up with Kathleen Wilhoit, and they kind of go through this, just escapade throughout town, doing this and that, and getting into trouble and shooting up places, crashing helicopters. So, but he gives off one of the most, I don't know, the line he says, it's absolutely crazy. In the beginning, he comes out, he's got his groceries in his hand, and she is stealing his car. And as she's trying to wheel it out of the parking lot or something, he yells out, "Hey, that's my car. You can't steal my car. I'm a cop." So you got to have a good sense of humor, good time. Yeah, all these ones that he was doing back when he was doing this, it's just like, it's just a good time. Another good one is Congetti. Congetti is another great one that he did. I think that was like his towards the last of his ones that he was doing, because I think Death Wish 5 was the last one that he really did before he. I want to say he did that, and either before or after Family of Cops. Family of Cops must have been his last days on screen, really. He has another weird one that's an off one. I've never seen it, but it's called Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus. And I never did see it. It seems like a kind of an oddball, real oddball, not your usual Bronson film. And the other one we're going to talk about is one that definitely goes back with me quite a while. And I remember seeing this back when, what was the channel? TBS, I think it was the Western Channel or something way back on the television. And I taped this on VHS. I remember shoving the tape in the VCR and taping it. Remember making sure you got the right channel and then hitting record. But Red Son, Charles Bronson, Toshiro Mifune. This is Ursula Andress is in it, but Charles Bronson, Toshiro Mifune, absolutely. Can you see it in all of its glory? Yep, there it is. Boom. Really cool movie. This is it's such an obscure one. I believe it had to have been a foreign film of some sort, I think. It's odd in a way, but it's really cool because basically you have Charles Bronson teaming up with the samurai Toshiro Mifune and going off trekking through the Wild West after Ghosh. Because why? Because Ghosh has the money, the gold or whatever they stole off the train that Ghosh betrayed Charles Bronson for. And Mifune's after him. Now Mifune wants to kill Ghosh because Ghosh stole a sword that belongs to them and killed one of the samurai. And so they're Mifune's out for blood. Bronson wants to get the gold first. He says, yeah, that's fine. If you want to kill him, that's fine. But I need to get the money first. So it's a great Western, absolutely fantastic. Growing up for me, like I said, I have that one taped off the television, but in search for this on video and trying to get an actual real copy of it was almost non-existent. I mean, it was like good luck. Of course, now with everything, it's a little easier. You can certainly find this right there on Amazon. You can pick this up. Probably a newer copy than this one. This one's an older copy. When I first moved out here to the desert, I saw this in the Bookmans, and it was a little pricey, but I didn't care I think it was like $14. And for Bookmans, that's a little bit on the pricier side, but I didn't care. I snatched it up right away. So, but here's the story. I was living in Colorado, and God, I miss Colorado. I miss Colorado so much. I love that state. I was living in Colorado, and I went to this video store in Boulder, and it's called Video Station. I believe they still exist. I hope they still exist. Places like that are a dying thing. The Video Station was so big, it was 2 stories or 2 floors of videos. They had everything. They had the DVDs, but they had a lot of VHS tapes, which is really cool. I love VHS tapes. So just I was going through there, and they're something about, they say they had like a thing at that time. Of course, this was like many years ago, and we're talking we're talking over 10 years ago, or maybe close to 15 years ago. I was in there, and there's something about, they said, we have like everything, try to see if you can come up with a title we don't have. So I said, you know what, I got this. Red Son. I asked them, I said, do you have Red Son with Charles Bronson? They looked it up on the computer, and the guy did the whole, we do have it. And I said, really? That's crazy. So we go over to the one of the sections. Now, they had so many tapes that they took the boxes and they flattened the boxes and put them in the thick, clear plastic like sheets, and they would, that was all in there too. But nope, sure enough, they pull out this old copy on videotape of Red Sun. And if I recall right, the cover was very, very similar to that. When I held that in my hands, that was like holding the Holy Grail to me. I just couldn't believe that they had this on tape. And so, of course, I asked immediately if I could buy it. And they said, no, we won't sell it. So I said, all right. So what do you do? This was, of course, back then. What do? You rent it and you rig up 2 VCRs and you try to copy the thing. That's what we used to do. We used to try to do that. So we did. We rigged up a couple of VCRs. At that time, VCRs were, that wasn't, it wasn't uncommon to see a household with VCRs. Long before people got all their entire life on the cell phone. Anyway, so we rigged up 2 VCRs and we recorded this thing. And we finally had like somewhat of a legit copy. Well, it wasn't a legit copy, but we had a copy of it, okay? So I just couldn't believe that we actually, and to get to watch it and everything. But man, that was a heck of a quest, a journey, just to even get it. Now, I actually seen a copy